Is a commercial real estate reckoning on the horizon? A new report from property data firm ADAM found that commercial foreclosures were up 15% month over month, 48% year over year. In September, you had 695 across the nation. California, of course, seeing the most distress, a 238% jump from the same time last year. New York foreclosures rose about 48% year over year. Now, this is all as many companies implement return to work mandates. It is a step towards breathing new life back into office real estate. But one executive says that the work-life balance needs to be reimagined to revive that all-important commercial real estate sector. And that man joining me now, Fox Business Exclusive, is the Cushman & Wakefield chairman, Bruce Mosler. Bruce, great to have you. What do you mean by how we should be thinking and reimagining this?
Look, I think that we've done a report with Placers that says that we have to rethink cities. We have to rethink what is the live, work, play balance and what people want, how people want to return to work. And the verdict is in. Because performance, where we're seeing outperformance, is in these live, work, play environments like the Penn District or Manhattan West or Hudson Yards. People want, this particular generation wants to, and I speak, of course, of Gen Z and millennials, want to see things that are hospitality-like in their office buildings. They want to walk outside and have F&B and have entertainment. All these things are what make a city like New York extraordinary. So
are the bottoms behind us in terms of pricing?
I certainly think that with 70% on peak days of people coming back to the office and the number of office mandates saying come back to work that are out there, we're continuing to see dramatic improvements. So do I think we've seen the bottom? Probably, but we're also seeing a bifurcation in the market that I've talked about before.
Right.
Those assets that are well invested in, those assets that have amenitization, those folks that are located close to or on top of transportations, that's where people want to be, and those assets are outperforming.
Okay, so you know what else we've talked about on this program is my love of my dear hometown, San Francisco. You keep telling me that the worst is behind us. I'm trying to believe you, but really inform our audience. How are we thinking about San Francisco, who is so knee-deep in commercial real estate and trying to struggle with that return to office?
I think we're looking at San Francisco similarly to New York in the sense that we have seen a bifurcation in the market. Okay. We are seeing assets that have been reinvested in, and we are seeing people return to work. There's just no question that people are more effective when they sit opposite one another. You cannot without collaboration, you have no innovation. So people are getting that, and San Francisco is no different. Is it happening at the rate and pace of New York? New York happens to be out ahead of most gateway cities, but it is happening. I can point to occupancy rising. We see the fact that ownership gets that they have to invest in their assets in order to achieve success. That's happening.
You know, I think when we talk about how important it is to transform commercial office space to a warehouse or a previous retail home into a warehouse, it's not always that easy, right? How should I be thinking about transforming or repurposing a building?
It's highly complex.
Yeah.
So even when we talk about residential, the conversion to residential, it depends on the floor plate size. It depends on the location. Oftentimes in residential conversion, you lose up to 25% of the floor plate, and yet there are many buildings, smaller floor plates in particular, downtown that lend themselves. We're hearing every day, listen, the accelerator program that the mayor has, the incentives that they have cleared the way for these conversions are working. We're hearing about assets converting every day. We know that we need more, at the end of the day, residential buildings in this city. We know that we have housing is a huge crisis for us in terms of the future. Without additional housing, it's going to be hard to retain the workforce of the future. We're aware of that. The steps have been taken, and we are hearing now of conversions taking place. It happened, by the way, post 9/11 very successfully, where over 5 million square feet was converted. There's probably 1 million feet in the pipeline right now, and I think that will grow substantially over time. We should make no mistake about the economics involved, including the cost of funds.
Can I talk about cost of financing a little bit? The Federal Reserve comes out, they cut interest rates 50 basis points, jumbo cut, and everyone thinks, great, yields are falling. except that yields have backed up, and in many cases in the last few weeks jumping 60 basis points. I know on the residential side, Freddie Mac was back up to 6.5%.
Right.
How much of a problem right now is financing, refinancing, that we're still nowhere near sort of the levels that we were of a few years ago?
You're right, we face challenges, but the short-term rates have come down, and that is beneficial. So, yes, long-term rates we are struggling with at the moment. I think that will adjust.
Okay.
But
soon, next year?
Yeah, no, listen, hard to predict when. I'm not in that business. If I was, I'd be in Vegas. But at the end of the day, short-term rates have come down. That has helped bridge to the long term.
Bruce, it's always great to have you. Thank you. You come in here and you take my questions, even when I push back on you about San Francisco, and that's why we love having you back. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.